Hey everyone, it's me, Dr. Binning. I have with me a special guest today, Marlene, who is a metabolic reset hero. She finished this program, she's about a month ago, right?
Yeah. It
Just
was
over a
kind of
month
beginning
ago.
of December. Yeah, I started September 25th, so
Okay.
10 weeks from that.
Okay. And what we're going to do is just share her journey so you can get some insights into what was, what changed in Marlene's life, what she was able to accomplish, and we'll go from there. So, hi, Marlene.
Hi, good to
Um,
see you.
so why don't we start with, what was the reason or what was your life like before you started this program, and what really made you decide to like take action in your life?
Okay, so I actually, about going back 20 years ago, I started having some real chronic health issues and challenges and struggles with my health chronically. And it was affecting my life, affecting, my ability to things that I could do. And I had 5 young kids at home at the time. So that started me kind of on a path of searching, and trying to learn what I could do to best take care of myself and how I could have the most possible best health for myself. Because there's not a whole lot of, help out there sometimes these days, with family doctors and that you're kind of on your own a lot to kind of try to find your way and navigate your way through when you're dealing with some health issues. And that's kind of where I found myself. So I began doing, a lot of research and just trying to learn of how I could best take care of myself. So during that time, I, did learn a lot about diet and, highly inflammatory foods and sugar, especially. And for me, that was a huge poison to my body, with creating, a lot of inflammation and pain in my joints and my body. So, I learned that eliminating sugar and some, gluten and those highly inflammatory foods really made a huge difference for me in my life as far as how I was able to function and really eliminated the pain that I was experiencing in my body and throughout my body. So that was, and I'm also in the healthcare field. So I've always been very conscious of, trying to take good care of myself and be strong so that I can take care of other people as well and be able to do my job. So about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, I decided to compete in a bodybuilding competition. And it's not something that I ever thought I would participate in or do, but I was kind of encouraged by my personal trainer to do that. And I thought, it sounded like a really neat challenge and, something that would be a kind of a neat experience to do. And it was a great experience for me in some ways. In other ways, it was not. And so what happened was after the competition, I quickly gained within about 4 weeks time, post competition, I blew up 30 pounds. And, it was quite devastating for me to be in that state and to feel completely out of control of my body. And for the next 4 years, which brought me to here now, I was basically on a spinning wheel of trying to release this weight that my body had put on. It seemed that I think going through what I did with the bodybuilding transformation, it really wasn't a good thing for my body, and it just really messed it up in a lot of ways. So here I was now stuck with 30 pounds plus extra on my body, and really trying to get rid of that weight, drop the weight, lose the weight. I was continued to exercise 8 to 10 hours a week, 6 days a week. I was doing keto diet, which is pretty much what I followed for my competition, which had worked for me at one time. That was no longer working. I tried different diet strategies of, eating 5 to 6 meals a day, small meals, so several different things that, I was trying. And, what I knew to do was to just keep pushing myself harder and, to work my, harder. That's kind of what I had been trained to do with personal trainers for the past 10 decades. It's just, you're not working hard enough or work more, do more, work harder. And so that's just what I kept doing, thinking that, that's what I needed to do for my body to, respond to what I wanted it to do. And it didn't happen, and it wouldn't happen. So yeah, so I, obviously became very frustrated, very discouraged, and, depressed after, I'm not a quitter. So, I just continued to keep trying, and I was getting nowhere fast. And I just felt like I was on this spinning wheel, one of those little hamsters on the wheel, just, going like crazy and not getting anywhere. And then I just happened to see one of your Facebook posts one day, that you were talking about your program, and there were a couple of testimonials that were able for me to access. And so I, listened to other stories that had gone through your program, and I really didn't know anything much about it. I did have a close family member that went through it about a year prior. And, I hadn't really been that much in touch with her over the year and been able to talk with her much about it. So I didn't really know what it all, encompassed, or, what it all involved. But I know that it gave her life back hugely, when she struggled also with some very serious health issues for a long time, many years. And, this basically gave her life back going through this program. And she's, a new person, and, also was able to drop, in the year's time, almost 80 pounds. But, is no longer diagnosed with some of those health conditions that she was diagnosed with. So pretty amazing stuff. So yeah, so I was pretty much at a place where I didn't know where else to turn. I had, I just didn't know what else to do anymore. I tried everything I thought I could and was supposed to do, and nothing was working. And so I was, at a place where I was quite devastated. And, this sort of came to me in that time, and it was what I needed, because it was life changing for me as well, then to join up and do this program.
So I think, what's really important to take away from what you said is, like, you got to a place where all the things that delivered success for you in the past were no longer working.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
I saw your competition pictures once you went through that whole process, and you looked amazing, and you probably felt amazing.
Yeah.
But it must be so frustrating to, work even harder than what it was to get to that point, and it not make any difference at all.
Yes, exactly.
And then
Exactly.
that's always kind of the shift of, well, you must be doing something, you're cheating on some way or somehow, you're not really spending that much time in the gym, you're not doing 3 hours a day, and maybe turn 3 into 3.5 or 4, and it's like, well, what are you going to live there?
Right.
Really?
So yeah, exactly. It was very frustrating knowing that, like, what's going on. I was able to get the results I wanted before, and, my body did what I wanted it to do, but, I'm working my butt off, and I'm getting nowhere. And yeah, it was very exhausting and frustrating for sure.
Yeah. And it sounds like it. Now,
Yeah.
once you started, once you joined our program, once you started it, what did you find that was different or unique about what you were learning, or what you were changing about your life that, like, maybe wasn't addressed before, like was never really brought up for you?
I think the first thing is that just learning how to work with and for my body and not against it.
Mm.
I didn't realize that I was putting my body under so much stress by what I was doing, all that exercising, and, all the other things I had going on in my life. Maybe just that one extra thing of all that, extra exercise on top of it was what just sort of drowned me. And, I learned that too much stress, and very high stress, and, even too much exercise can also create insulin resistance, and cause you not be able to lose weight. And I had no idea until I did this program that, high stress can cause insulin resistance, as well as, diet issues. So, learning to work with my body. And one of the light bulbs that went off for me, which was, a big part of this, was you had said that our bodies never make a mistake, that they respond to the signals that they receive. And so, this was huge to now it was, our bodies are doing exactly what they're supposed to do with the signals that they're receiving.
Yeah.
So, this approach is giving our bodies the signals that they need to get the outcome that we want, and the outcome will follow with the right signals. So, this was huge. It's something I've never, experienced or approached in this way before. And with this program, most diets or programs or whatever are mostly just focused on your food, your diet, and your exercise. This is an all-encompassing, addressing your full body, mind, spirit, even your environment of your home, and how that can affect you and your health. So, it's very different. And, I gained so much more in this program than I ever imagined and expected. So.
Wow. Well, and I'm so happy to hear that, because this is, I think, the most helpful thing for people to hear is that there's so much of this equation when it comes to like health or weight loss specifically that is just left on and never talked about, right? It's always your food and how much you move. And that's the only two things that matter. And I mean, I think, someone with your background, especially with what you've achieved in your life, what you started to see is that maybe those things aren't so important at certain parts of your life, right? And when you maybe, when 30 years ago, maybe that might have been the right strategy, but our bodies change and our life change and our stress levels. Some people think that, hey, you know what, I've gone through this stressful period and then the stress disappears. Well, stress only disappears if we actually unpackage it, deal with it, process it, and move forward. Most of us just keep putting it under the blanket or under the carpet. And you got this big rug that looks like a mountain in your living room with a coffee table on it, right?
Yeah.
And we say, well, no, I don't have any stress.
Right, exactly. And, one of the things that it kind of freaked me out, like when I was talking to you about, possibly joining the program and just kind of, when I first had that little consultation with you and talking about it, and I shared with you my experience and where I was at and how stuck I was. And you had said that, in the first 6 weeks of this program, I'm not going to be doing really any kind of, really active, certainly not intense exercising, at all in the first 6 weeks. And, that was so foreign to me because I was just so used to, just be constantly, exercising. I need this for my health. I need this for my strength. And so, it was, to hear that was very different. But, I remember you saying to me that, we just need to let go of everything we thought we knew, in the past about food, diet, all that. Right. And just trust the process. Right. And, I'm so glad that I did. And I mean, I was in a place where I was ready to do that because, what I was doing wasn't working. So, but yeah, it was, yeah.
That's great. Now, do you mind sharing some of the results? Like some of the, not just results in terms of, but like, what did you feel change within you kind of thing?
Right. Absolutely. One of the biggest things was that I feel like I gained a sense of control back over my life. With everything about this program. It gave me like a roadmap to be able to have, learn ways of navigating my life. I learned different ways and techniques of managing my stress, and how to switch from fight or flight to rest and calm, and to have those tools to now know how to do that. I didn't know how to do that before, and to understand that you cannot be in both states at the same time. So, I really gained, some tools that have been able to help me to be able to do that and to stay in a much longer state of rest rather than in that chronic state of stress. Yeah. And so then the result of that gave me a much greater overall feeling of balance, well-being, and contentment in my life as well, being a much more grounded. So with the elimination of those high inflammatory foods, as long as I, keep that out of my system, the pain in my body is non-existent. I don't have that, and I have very high energy and much less lower moods, where I experienced, of course, in the past, feeling just down, depressed or irritable, and, all those negative kind of moods. When you're taking good care of yourself and your body's doing what it's supposed to be doing, you feel good. And, my energy levels, are high when I'm in that state. And my sleep has, improved too. I was always quite a very restless sleeper, hard time falling asleep. I find that I am falling asleep much quicker. I am in a much deeper sleep when I'm sleeping as well. So I feel like I'm getting a much more solid sleep than I was also. So that's been a really good thing for me. And being on shift work, my sleep patterns can be kind of messed up, but I do find that it has improved. One of the other things and this isn't really physical, but it's just been kind of fun for me, a little bit of a fun adventure with my food, being more experimenting more with different foods that, I weren't allowed in my diet before, being on these other diets, having a lot more variety of different fruits that I can enjoy, and, different seasonings, having a much better taste of food, and just learning different ways to cook my food. So that's just been kind of a little adventure for me. And I actually look forward to my meals now, and mealtime is a delightful experience for me, where it wasn't so much before. And then last but not least, the biggest thing, is that I was able to release 28 pounds and 25 inches in 10 weeks.
Wow.
And, that was, I'm still shocked about it, that my body was able to change and respond so quickly in such a short period of time after struggling for 4 years, and being stuck. So, that's pretty amazing. And, it still feels kind of surreal when I step on the scale and see the numbers. I'm like, is that really right? But it all goes back to the signals that are being sent to my body. And that's why my body was able to do what it did.
Yeah. So, I joke with, people that go through our program afterwards, and, most people will join with this one specific goal of losing weight. And by the time they come out after 10 weeks, often they'll say, I don't even care about the weight that I lost. What I care about is all of these other things that you mentioned. They're like, my pain is gone. Like, I'm happy. I'm more productive. Yeah. I'm more in tune with my family. I'm just a different person. And then afterwards comes the weight loss, right?
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing to see, because then you start seeing that, hey, maybe, the one belief that we had is that, I'm not deserving of something good because of the way I look. You know what I mean? And so we almost buy into this narrative over time, like whether it's from our parents or whether it's from our siblings or schooling or whatever it is, there's these thought processes that kind of get downloaded into our mind where we start to believe it. Right. Yeah. And I think what we definitely try to do through this program is, unlink that thought process and say, hey, you know what, you've always been worthy.
Right.
And once you start to believe it, then you start taking the steps that are appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So now, what would you, because you shared so much, I'm trying to think of something else that I can ask you. What would you say to someone else who, especially this time of year, we're going into a new year. What would you say to someone else who's just sitting, thinking to themselves, you know what, I've tried 1,000 other things, nothing ever seems to work. And they've lost that belief in themselves that they could actually achieve some success when it comes to their health. And what advice would you have to them? Maybe because they're sitting where you were for 4 years, right? What would you say to that person if they were standing in front of you?
Well, I certainly found out that, my best life was yet to come. Now, so we're one of the words, those were some of the words that you said to me. And, I feel like that's where I'm at now, is I'm experiencing life to a much fuller degree. And I would say to them, go for it. Like, this program is an opportunity to change your life. Go for it. You have so much to gain and nothing to lose at
Mhm.
all, and it's a gift to yourself that you'll benefit so greatly from for the rest of your life. What I've learned and what I'm learning and I continue to learn, because there's still so much information. I love the videos, the coaching sessions. I can go back because, I did take notes through the sessions because there's just so much information to take in. And, I go back to my notes and also rewatch the videos, because there's just a wealth of knowledge and information, to apply to our lives to, help us be healthy and help us live those best lives. So, I would just say, like, don't waste another minute. Don't waste any more time being stuck where you are, or being discouraged or doubting. This is an opportunity that can change your life, and it will change your life if you commit to it and apply it to your life. It there's no doubt in my mind. You will have no regrets, and you will be very happy that you made this decision to go through this. So go for it.
That's great. I know you mentioned in the beginning when we first started talking that someone inspired you to take action. And I
Yeah.
hope that you sharing your story, that this is the case, is what I usually find is that someone will watch this and say, wow, she is me. And you
Yeah.
will have that same effect. And I know actually that you have had someone in your personal life get inspired to actually do something, which is how this, when we sat down to think of how can we impact the most lives that we possibly can, it's through people like you and everyone else who goes through our program, changing their lives so radically that it becomes contagious, where other people are like, well, how did you get like this?
Right.
And they just want
Yeah.
to know. And then when they see you,
Right.
when they see that what you can achieve, then it's just a matter of them saying, well, if they can, why can't I?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if I can do it, with everything that I've been through in my life and being stuck as long as I was, and, I mean, it works if you apply, what you're learning, it will work for you. And I just want to say, be open to learning and growing, because that's where transformation happens,
Yeah.
and, keep an open mind and heart. And, we can change when we're open to learning and growing and doing something different, right? It's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I was stuck there for a long time, but I just didn't have the tools, and I just didn't really know what else to do. So I'm just so grateful and so thankful, that you're doing this, Sudeep, and you're changing lives. Lives are being changed out there because of your passion and love and care for what you do and for each individual. Doing this as a group, and having you as the coach. You're so passionate, and you care so genuinely about each individual person and each person's personal journey. And, that was an amazing experience too, just to have you there in the trenches, right there with us. You were, walking with us through the whole thing. And, there, whenever we needed any kind of support or encouragement, you were always available for that. And also, others that were, also encouraging one another, in the program, at different points of maybe struggle or stuck or whatever it might be, or hitting a plateau. And, but you're not alone in this, and I think that's where a lot of strength comes from as well. When you're just trying something on your own, especially, changing your health and weight loss. And it's not an easy thing to do. And, can be very difficult, and you can become very unmotivated just trying to do something on your own if, you kind of get stuck or hit a tough spot. But when you've got a group of people and you're doing it together, it's easier and it's more fun. And I'm just so grateful for what you do. And, that, I am where I am today because of this program. And, have tools that I will, continue to have, I've gained this for a lifetime. And, I can always go back to, these are things that have become habits and part of my life now. It's,
Yeah.
it's not something that you do for a period of time, but it's something that, it's changed the way I live. So.
Well, I mean, that's great. And I want to say thank you. It is an honor. It is truly, for me, a blessing to be able to have an impact in people's lives. It's truly one of my big sources of happiness is just watching you smile and being able to help you go from one place to the place you wanted to be in, and just to have a part in that journey, and I pride myself and take a lot of seriousness to that as well. And you know what, in all honesty, I would love to take all the credit, but the credit is mostly yours, because all I can do is teach you. And so like you did, and like most of the people in our groups, is they have to put the action in, right? And the results come from their actions, because I can't change the signals.
Right,
You
exactly.
changed the
Yeah,
signals that your body was responding to, and you got an outcome. And the outcome
right.
just matched the signals that we created,
That's
right? And so
right. That's right.
I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being brave enough to say, you know what, none of this is working. I've had enough. Let me just try something radically different. And like I said, it always helps to have seen someone personally, or see a video, or see someone that you say, wait a minute, like, how did that happen? I know what's going on in that person's life, and to be motivated by that. And I want to say, a very heartfelt thank you to you for being brave enough to share your journey, because it will have that effect on other people.
Well, thank you. And thanks for having me. And, I just I was inspired by other stories. And so I just, want to do the same as well. And, if it can just help make a difference for even one person, it's worth it. So I feel like me again. I for a long time was at war with my body, and felt very disconnected from it. And now I feel connected again, body, mind, and spirit. And, I feel like me. And so it's the best feeling in the world, and it feels amazing. And
Awesome.
whoever out there that, this can help, I just wish everybody the best out there, and really seize opportunity. It can change your life. So thank you.
Awesome. So that's it.